Dear students, today we are going to learn a very important and interesting topic, that is about the sciatic nerve, which is the thickest nerve in our body. So the sciatic nerve, it is present in the posterior side of the thigh and the calf. So the sciatic nerve is the thickest nerve in the body, I said. So the thickness of the sciatic nerve, it is approximately around 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters thickness. So if you see its thickness at its beginning, it is around 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters thickness. And sciatic nerve, it arises from lumbosacral plexus, means the lumbar spinal nerves and sacral spinal nerves, they form plexus called as lumbosacral plexus. So we know it has got two components. One is the tibial component. So the green one represents the tibial component or tibial part, and the yellow one is the common peroneal component. And tibial component, we can see it is giving rise to branches in the thigh itself, whereas the common peroneal part, we can't see much of the branches. So that is the common peroneal component. So let's see the root value of these two components. So as I said, it has got the tibial and common peroneal. Tibial part, it arises from the root value. So if you see the root value of lumbar nerves, that is L4, L5, S1, S2, S3. So these are the spinal segments which gives rise to roots, and roots divides to form rami, anterior rami and posterior rami. So the anterior rami are the ones which gives rise to plexus, that is brachial plexus in the upper limb and lumbosacral plexus in the lower limb. So these anterior primary rami, they are further divided into ventral division and dorsal division. So if you see here, these dotted lines are the dorsal divisions. So these dotted lines represents dorsal divisions, whereas the continuous line represents ventral divisions. So these are ventral divisions. So the ventral divisions of the anterior primary rami, that is L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, ventral divisions, they give rise to tibial part of sciatic nerve. So the ventral divisions gives rise to tibial part. Whereas the dorsal division of L4, L5, S1, S2, S3 doesn't get involved here. So we are seeing L4, L5, S1, S2. So these spinal segments gives rise to common peroneal part. So that is how the origin of sciatic nerve in two parts, that is tibial part and common peroneal part, where we have to know its root value separately for both the components. So these two parts are usually enclosed in a common sheath of connective tissue. So the sciatic nerve, if we see its extent, it begins in the pelvis and terminates in the above the popliteal fossa, that is above the superior angle of the popliteal fossa, where it divides there as tibial and common peroneal nerves. So it terminates finally above the superior angle of popliteal fossa. The sciatic nerve lies in front of the piriformis under the cover of its fascia. So what you are seeing, it is like letter E here. This is the origin of piriformis muscle. So one thing you all have to note here, piriformis is the key muscle of the gluteal region, because it gets origin from the ventral surface of the sacrum, and it comes out through the sciatic notch to lie in the gluteal surface. So when it crosses the sciatic notch, it divides the structures superior to it and below to it. That is the reason piriformis is considered as the key muscle of gluteal region. So what you are seeing here is the origin of sciatic nerve. So it enters the gluteal region through the greater sciatic notch below the piriformis. So it runs below the piriformis. So in the gluteal region, it runs downwards with a lateral convexity. We can see here, this is sciatic nerve. This is piriformis muscle. And we can see it lies underneath the piriformis and comes out below the lower border of the piriformis to enter inside the gluteal region. In the gluteal region, it passes between the ischial tuberosity and greater trochanter. So this is the greater trochanter. And this is ischial tuberosity. So what you are seeing, this one is the sciatic nerve. And it is the most lateral structure emerging through the greater sciatic foramen below the piriformis. Here the gluteus maximus, gluteus medius all are removed to expose only the piriformis and structures which are coming underneath it and superior to it. It enters the back of the thigh at the lower border of the gluteus maximus muscle. So this is the image of the sciatic nerve showing the structures underneath the gluteus maximus muscle. And these are the cut ends of gluteus maximus. And we can see the cut part of gluteus medius also. And here is our piriformis, which is a pyramidal like muscle. So it is coming underneath it to enter the gluteal region, then it entering into the hamstring part, that is the posterior component of the thigh. So sometimes we may see variations in the exit of the sciatic notch from the pelvis. So usual variations are two types. Normally the sciatic nerve enters the gluteal region through the greater sciatic notch below the piriformis. That's what we have seen till now. But sometimes the sciatic nerve divides into tibial and common peroneal component within the pelvis itself. And in such cases, the mode of exit is from the pelvis occurs like two ways. One is the common peroneal nerve passes through the piriformis and the tibial nerve passes below the piriformis. So here is the common peroneal nerve. You can see it is piercing through the piriformis, whereas the green one is the tibial nerve, which is underneath the piriformis. That is how they exit if they get split within the pelvis. And sometimes the common peroneal nerve, we can see it is above to the piriformis. Instead of lying through it, it may lie above to the piriformis. And the other one, see the tibial nerve, it is underneath it. So these two are the common variations which may happen with the sciatic nerve while it is exiting through the greater sciatic notch. So let's see the relations of the sciatic notch. We can divide the relations into superficial relations and deep relations. Superficial relations like the structures covering it from the posterior side. One is the gluteus maximus. We can see the cut part of gluteus maximus in the gluteal region. And in the hamstring region, it is superficially related to the long head of biceps. So this is long head of biceps which is retracted to expose the sciatic nerve. And the sciatic nerve, it is accessible in the back of the thigh only at the angle between the gluteus maximus and the long head of biceps femoris. So between the lower border of the gluteus maximus, this is the cut part of gluteus maximus, and here is the origin of long head of biceps from the ischial tuberosity. So at this angle, the sciatic nerve is more accessible in the back of the thigh. Let's talk about the deep relations of the sciatic nerve, which we can consider as the bed of the sciatic nerve. So from above downwards, it is related to the body of the ischium. So posterior surface of the body of the ischium. This bone is the ischium. Then it is related to the tendon of obturator internus associated with superior and inferior gemelli muscle. So these three together called as tricipital tendon formed by obturator internus, superior gemellus, and inferior gemellus. So these three forms the tricipital tendon. It is also related to quadratus femoris. So below the tricipital tendon, it is related to quadratus femoris. Quadratus femoris gets inserted to the quadrate tubercle, which is present on the posterior side between the greater and the lesser trochanter. So on the over the intertrochanteric crust. So this is quadratus femoris. And still more below, we can see the sciatic nerve lies over a very thick muscle which is called as adductor magnus muscle. So these are the muscles which forms the sciatic nerve bed. So bed of the sciatic nerve or deep relations of the sciatic nerve. Let's see the branches of the sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerve, as it is crossing the hip joint as well as the knee joint, it gives rise to few of the articular branches. So in the gluteal region, it gives rise to articular branches to the hip joint. Right here. Articular branches to the hip. So it gives rise to muscular branches. So these muscular branches, they are not just alone they are actually from the tibial part of sciatic nerve. Gives muscular branches to hamstring muscles. And one branch goes to the short head of biceps femoris, that is the muscular branch to the short head of biceps femoris, which arises in the lower part of the thigh, that is from the lateral side of the nerve. It gets origin in the lower part of the thigh. This is nerve to short head of biceps femoris. So this nerve, it is the branch of common peroneal part. So the tibial part gives rise to rest of the branches, that is all the muscular branches in the posterior compartment of the thigh, except this nerve, that is the nerve to short head of biceps femoris, which arises from the common peroneal part of sciatic nerve. So therefore, the side to the lateral to the sciatic nerve is the safe, because we can see it gives rise all branches on its medial aspect. So the lateral side of the sciatic nerve considered as the safe side, and it is whereas the medial side is considered as unsafe side or dangerous side of sciatic nerve. And let's talk about little more about intramuscular injection which we give in the gluteal region. The gluteal region is one of the commonest site of intramuscular injections to administer the drugs, and it is given in the gluteus medius muscle at the site. So if we divide the gluteal region, into four parts, so superolateral part, so this part of the gluteal region is considered as the safe area where there is no neurovascular component deep to it. So the sciatic nerve lies somewhere in the superomedial and inferior quadrants of the gluteal region. So superolateral quadrant of the gluteal region is considered as the safe area where we administer intramuscular injections. So this is the where gluteus medius is exposed. So we give this injection to gluteus medius. So if given randomly at anywhere instead of choosing in a right side, it may damage the sciatic nerve. Thus, that is the reason we should know the right side of intramuscular injections. It is the safe only when we give in the upper lateral quadrant of the gluteal region and or above the extending posterior superior iliac spine to the upper border of the greater trochanter. So between the posterior superior iliac spine and upper border of the greater trochanter can be considered as the safest area. Next we shall talk about the sciatic nerve block. Sciatic nerve block is blocked by injecting an anesthetic agent a few centimeters below the midpoint of the line joining the posterior superior iliac spine. So this is the posterior superior iliac spine and the greater trochanter. So if you draw a line a few centimeters, that is 1 or 2 centimeters below the midpoint, is the site of sciatic nerve block, where we administer anesthetic agent by injecting into the sciatic nerve. That is, it is below the midpoint of the line joining the PSIS. This is posterior superior iliac spine and this is greater trochanter. Next is the piriformis syndrome, which is associated with the sciatic nerve compression. It is a clinical condition which is characterized by the pain in the buttock region due to the compression of the sciatic nerve by the piriformis. So piriformis here, it is hypertrophied. So because of thickened piriformis, there is a chance of compressing the sciatic nerve. It commonly occurs in sports that are required excessive use of gluteal muscles. Example in ice skaters, cyclists, because of causing the hypertrophy or spasm of piriformis muscle, which is called as piriformis syndrome. So the next condition is about the sleeping foot. The sciatic nerve is uncovered on the back of the thigh at the angle, that is in the angle between the lower border of gluteus maximus. So this is the lower border of the gluteus maximus. And here is the long head of biceps. So at this angle, the sciatic nerve is uncovered. So here is the sciatic nerve. So it is this area where there is a temporary compression of the sciatic nerve against the femur at the lower border of the gluteus maximus, causing the paresthesia in the lower limb, which is called as sleeping foot. Surface marking of the sciatic nerve in the gluteal region. So in the gluteal region, it is marked from the posterior superior iliac spine to the ischial tuberosity. This is the midpoint between the posterior superior iliac spine and ischial tuberosity. 2.5 centimeters lateral to this, mark a point. That is the first point. So this is the first point. Second point, that is the lower point, it is the midway between the greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity. So this is the greater trochanter. So midway between the greater trochanter and ischial tuberosity, that is the second point. So if you join these 2 points, it forms the sciatic nerve in the gluteal region. And beyond in the thigh, we can consider as the junction between the upper 2/3 and lower 1/3. The junction, that is the in the thigh, posterior to the thigh. So the thickness of the sciatic nerve is approximately 1.5 to 2 centimeters. So make a line with this thickness, curved line with an outward convexity. So joining these 2 points with outward convexity with 2 centimeters wide, it makes the sciatic nerve in the gluteal region. So this completes the sciatic nerve with some applied aspects and what is sciatic nerve block, and we learnt about the piriformis syndrome and also the compression of the sciatic nerve leading to paresthesia, that is sleeping foot. So these are the few clinical relations and surface marking of the sciatic nerve. So this completes the sciatic nerve. Thank you.